Welcome back, listeners. We're diving deep into Frank Herbert's Chapterhouse, Dune today.
Oh, this is a good one.
Yeah, it is. It's been, what, like 1,500 years since Heretics of Dune?
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
So, the Bene Gesserits are kind of in a tough spot, right?
Mm-hmm.
They made this hidden sanctuary on Chapterhouse,
Right.
but they're facing, well, they've got the Honored Matres coming after them,
Yeah.
and there's this mysterious enemy that's driving everyone out from the scattering.
Nobody's safe.
Seriously. It's a wild story about war and intrigue and a whole lot of transformation.
And the fate of humanity hanging in the balance.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So let's start with the big players here. The Bene Gesserit versus those Honored Matres. What are we dealing with?
Well, the Bene Gesserit, they've always relied on those long-term strategies, haven't they?
Right, like manipulation, political maneuvering, and their breeding program.
Precisely. They've been shaping human history for millennia.
And they control the spice,
Yeah.
which is like the most important thing in the Dune universe.
Oh, absolutely. Melange extends life, grants prescience, gives them leverage over everyone.
But the Honored Matres, they're like a whole different beast.
Completely. They come from the scattering, those vast unknown regions.
And on the old Imperium.
Yeah. And they're fierce. They use sexual enslavement to control men. And they rely on this weird drug for power.
So it's like the calculated strategists versus the unpredictable warriors.
It's a great way to put it. And their clash isn't just about territory or resources.
It feels bigger than that.
It's a clash of ideologies, a fundamental difference in how they view power and control.
And speaking of control, the Bene Gesserits have been terraforming Chapterhouse, right?
Oh yeah, they're turning it into another Arrakis. Sandworms and all.
It's such a bold move, and they have Shiana who can control the worms.
Mhm.
What's the strategy there?
Well, they know the power of the sandworms and the spice they produce, obviously.
The spice must flow.
Haha, exactly. So they're creating a new power base, a new source of melange they can control.
It's like they're playing 4D chess. While everyone else is like stuck with checkers.
Huh. And the way Herbert describes the transformation is just captivating.
Oh, yeah.
He talks about the sand trout, the baby sandworms, how they're slowly changing the landscape. Orchards are withering as the desert spreads.
Wow.
It really highlights the ecological impact, the upheaval that comes with this kind of massive change.
Yeah, they're not messing around. But while they're terraforming a whole planet, they're also dealing with Duncan Idaho, right?
Oh, Duncan. They brought him back as a ghoula again.
They just keep bringing him back.
Trying to tap into his mentat abilities, maybe unlock his memories.
I mean, he's got to be pretty tired of dying at this point.
His story is heartbreaking, really. All those fragments of past lives.
And the fear of manipulation. The discovery that he might be a Tleilaxu experiment.
Exactly. His relationship with the Bene Gesserit is so complex.
Like, he needs them, but he also resents their control over him.
Absolutely. Trapped in this cycle of death and rebirth, always a pawn in their game.
Makes you wonder if he'll ever truly break free.
That's a good question. And then we have Murbella, a captured honored matre.
Thrown right into the lion's den.
Imagine the culture shock. She has to adapt, learn their ways.
And she starts to question everything she thought she knew.
She goes from this fierce warrior, relying on brute force, to a student of subtle manipulation.
A complete 180.
It shows how adaptable and strong she is, but it also speaks to the power of the Bene Gesserit.
Yeah, like they break her down and rebuild her.
But at what cost? Right. What parts of herself get lost in the process?
Makes you wonder. It's like she's being molded into this weapon, but she's also becoming something more.
More complex, something even the Bene Gesserit might not fully understand.
Right. And as she evolves, she forms this bond with Duncan Idaho.
Oh, their relationship is intense.
Passionate, tragic.
It really highlights the personal stakes amidst all this galactic conflict.
And then there's a golden path.
Leto II's grand plan.
Still unfolding centuries after his death.
Like this invisible hand guiding events.
But is it really for the good of humanity? Or is there something darker going on?
That's the question that haunts this whole book. The Bene Gesserit claim to be following the golden path.
But their actions, well, they're definitely morally ambiguous sometimes.
They manipulate, they orchestrate conflicts, they sacrifice individuals.
All for this greater good.
Right. So are they really serving humanity or just their own interests?
That's something to think about. And then there's a sneaky Tleilaxu lurking in the shadows.
Always up to something.
They've got Scytail, a Tleilaxu master, as their prisoner.
But he's got his own agenda, for sure.
Yeah.
He's not afraid to play both sides.
He's a wild card. You never know when he's going to make a move.
The Tleilaxu represent the unpredictable. They throw a wrench in the work.
They have their own goals, And they'll exploit this whole Bene Gesserit Honored Matres conflict if it suits them.
Oh, absolutely. They add this layer of paranoia to the story, like nobody can be trusted.
So we've got this clash of civilizations, a planet undergoing a complete makeover,
Individuals battling with identity, loyalty.
and a mysterious galaxy-wide threat.
It's a lot to unpack.
And we've only just scratched the surface.
Chapterhouse. Dune is dense. Every detail matters.
Every character, every action.
It all adds up to this tapestry of power, intrigue.
And the question of humanity's survival.
Buckle up, folks. It's going to be a wild ride.
It's wild how Herbert keeps the tension cranked up.
Yeah.
Like, even with all this power struggles and big schemes going on, there's still this deeply personal element at play.
Yeah, it's not just these abstract forces clashing.
Right.
We see how these conflicts really impact individuals.
Absolutely.
Like, they have to make tough choices, face their fears, figure out what they're willing to sacrifice.
All about the choices.
Exactly. And take the Honored Matres, for instance.
Oh, yeah.
Herbert portrays them as this terrifying force.
Almost unstoppable.
They've conquered huge parts of the scattering.
And they're brutal.
Yeah, they use sexual dominance, employ these really harsh tactics to get what they want.
The job done. It's pretty chilling. And Herbert doesn't shy away from showing just how brutal they are.
No, he doesn't.
But here's the thing. They're running from something, too.
They are!
And whatever it is, it's so scary that it drives them to these desperate measures.
It's pushing them to the edge.
Right. The book hints at this mysterious enemy lurking out there in the scattering.
Deep in the unknown.
And it's so powerful that it's made the Honored Matres abandon their territories.
That's saying something.
Seriously. It adds this whole other level of suspense.
It's like cosmic horror.
Yeah. It makes you realize that even a group as powerful as the Honored Matres
Nobody's safe.
can be vulnerable.
Exactly.
It just makes you wonder, what could be so terrifying that even these hardened warriors are running from it?
Right. What is it?
And how will it impact the Bene Gesserit and everyone else?
Yeah, and humanity in general.
It's like this shadow hanging over the entire story.
Like a big question mark.
A reminder that there are forces at work that are beyond anyone's understanding.
Forces beyond our control.
So if the Honored Matres are running scared with all their advanced tech and ruthlessness, what chance do the Bene Gesserit have?
That's the question, isn't it?
They're already stretched thin, fighting enemies on multiple fronts.
They're outnumbered.
It's true, but they're not totally defenseless, right?
No, not at all.
They've got their own advantages, like controlling the sandworms, other memory, that centuries-long breeding program.
Powerful tools.
But it still feels like they're trying to hold back a flood with a teaspoon.
A bit outmatched.
But they're not just reacting to threats, are they? They're trying to shape the future.
Oh, absolutely. Both on Chapterhouse and beyond.
Terraforming the planet into a new Dune, a new source of spice.
That's long-term thinking.
It shows how determined they are to survive.
Yeah, but it makes you wonder about the ethics of it all.
It does.
I mean, they're playing God with a whole planet.
Reshaping ecosystems, risking all kinds of unintended consequences.
It's a big gamble.
And Herbert lays it all out there.
He does.
He shows the Bene Gesserit as this complex force.
Capable of great good, but also capable of real ruthlessness.
They're not afraid to get their hands dirty.
Not at all. And as readers, we're left to grapple with the morality of it all.
Yeah, to figure out where we stand.
It's not just black and white.
And it's not just about planetary manipulation either, right? They're manipulating individuals, like Duncan Idaho.
Ah, Duncan. A pawn in their game.
They keep bringing him back, using him for his menton abilities.
Hoping to tap into those memories.
But his struggle is at the heart of the story.
It is.
He represents that tension between individual will and collective control.
He wants to be free.
He's fighting for his own identity.
But he's constantly being pulled back in.
Yeah. It's fascinating to see him try to piece together those fragmented memories,
Trying to make sense of who he is.
while also resisting the Bene Gesserit's control.
It's a constant battle.
You can't help but root for him to break free.
I know. You want him to find his own path.
And then there's Murbella.
Oh, Murbella.
Her struggle is completely different. She's caught between two worlds, two completely opposing ideologies,
Right. She was trained by the Bene Gesserit.
exposed to their way of thinking.
But she still carries the scars of her Honored Matre past.
Like she's trying to walk a tightrope
Trying to find some kind of balance.
between who she was and who they want her to be.
Right. She's drawn to the power and discipline of the Bene Gesserit.
It's alluring.
But she also struggles with their tactics.
Their willingness to sacrifice individuals for the greater good.
That's a tough pill to swallow.
Yeah, it's a microcosm of the whole conflict between the Bene Gesserit and the Honored Matres.
It is, really. Can these two groups ever reconcile?
Or are they just too different?
And if they can't find a way to bridge that gap, what hope is there for everyone else?
Especially with that unknown threat looming over everything.
Boy, ticking time bomb.
It's almost like the universe itself is pushing them toward the brink,
Testing their limits.
forcing them to confront their choices and the consequences.
And then you have the Tleilaxu just to spice things up even more.
Oh yeah, they add a whole other layer of uncertainty.
They're the wild card.
With Scytale as their prisoner, the Bene Gesserits are playing a dangerous game,
They're walking on thin ice.
trying to use his knowledge.
About gulas and face dancers.
But Scytale's a master manipulator himself.
He's not just sitting there passively.
No way.
He's got his own plans.
Always scheming.
The Tleilaxu, they represent that unpredictable element in this whole volatile situation.
You never know what they're going to do.
They'll exploit the conflict between the Bene Gesserit and the Honored Matres for their own gain.
If it benefits them, they're in.
Absolutely.
They bring this paranoia to the story.
It makes you question everything.
Nobody can be trusted.
Right. Even the best laid plans can fall apart.
And then there's the Golden Path.
Leto's grand plan.
This overarching mystery that runs through the whole Dune saga.
It's the big question mark.
And in Chapterhouse, we start to see how the pieces might connect.
But the full picture is still murky.
The Bene Gesserit think they're following the Golden Path.
They're convinced.
But their interpretation is, well, it often seems self-serving.
They twist things to fit their own agenda.
They manipulate events, cause conflicts, sacrifice people.
All for this grand vision.
But is it really for the good of humanity?
That's the big question.
Or is it just a way for them to grab more power?
A justification for their actions.
This question haunts the whole story.
It does. Is the Golden Path a road to salvation or just another form of tyranny?
Who gets to decide the fate of humanity?
Who has that right?
Herbert doesn't give us easy answers.
No, he makes us think.
He makes us wrestle with these complex ideas about power, good versus evil, free will versus fate.
It's what makes Chapterhouse, Dune, so thought-provoking.
It's not just about spaceships and battles.
It's about the human condition.
It challenges us to think critically about our choices and the consequences of our actions.
It's a story that stays with you long after you finish reading it.
But we're getting ahead of ourselves. We still have to unpack the climax of Chapterhouse.
Oh.
And all the shocking revelations that come with it. Okay, so we're back, and things are really heating up in Chapterhouse. Dude.
It's the final act. Everything's coming to a head.
All those conflicts and shifting loyalties, it's like, it's all about to explode.
It does, in a big way.
Yeah.
The Bene Gesserit launched this daring attack on the Honored Matres.
Whoa, really?
Yeah, they take the fight right to their stronghold.
That's a big risk.
It is a desperate gamble to break the stalemate.
Wow, so they're not messing around with subtle manipulation anymore.
Nope, this is all-out war.
They're showing they can use brute force when they have to.
And leading the charge is Duncan Idaho.
Oh, wow, so he's not just a Mentat advisor anymore.
He's a full-on military commander, using all the experience from his past lives.
It's like all those fragmented memories have finally become a weapon.
He's become this incredible blend of warrior and strategist.
Nobody can stop him.
Herbert describes the battle in such vivid detail.
Oh, yeah.
You can practically see Duncan outmaneuvering his opponents, leading the strike force against this seemingly impenetrable fortress.
It's amazing how far he's come.
A true testament to his evolution as a character.
From pawn to leader.
And Murbella plays a crucial role in this conflict, too.
Oh, yeah, she's not a student anymore.
Or a pawn.
She's become a force to be reckoned with.
She even challenges Odrade, the Mother Superior.
Wow, she's really come into her own.
But then she's faced with this agonizing decision.
Oh.
She has to choose between her loyalty to the Bene Gesserit
And her love for Duncan.
It's a heart-wrenching choice that has huge consequences.
Not just for her, but for everyone.
It shows how, even in this grand story about galactic empires, the personal stakes are so high.
These conflicts have real consequences for individuals.
And while all this is happening, Chapterhouse is still transforming.
The desert's spreading, the sandworms are thriving.
It's like a visual reminder of the cyclical nature of history.
How even as civilizations rise and fall, the planet endures.
Adapting, changing.
And it's a powerful image.
It makes you think about the resilience of nature.
And the unintended consequences of human actions.
The Bene Gesserit might think they're in control, but the planet has its own plans.
And then there's Shiana,
the wild
the
card.
girl who can control the sandworms.
Even the Bene Gesserit can't fully control her.
We've seen glimpses of her power.
But it's unclear how she'll use it.
Will she side with the Bene Gesserit or go her own way?
It's a big mystery.
And the ending of Chapterhouse. Dune. Well, it leaves us with a lot of unanswered questions.
It does.
They're just classic Herbert.
He's a master at keeping us guessing.
Even after such an intense climax, there's still this sense of mystery and anticipation.
Like the story is far from over.
The Golden Path is still shrouded in mystery.
And the Bene Gesserit might think they have it all figured out.
But the universe always has a way of throwing a wrench in the works.
That's for sure.
So, as we wrap up our deep dive into Chapterhouse,
Dune.
it's been quite a journey.
I'm just struck by how Herbert weaves together all these complex themes.
War, intrigue, transformation, the fight for power.
It's a story that really makes you think.
Challenge your assumptions. Consider the consequences of our choices. What were your biggest takeaways from our exploration of Chapterhouse? Dune.
So much to think about.
How do you feel about the Bene Gesserit and their interpretation of the Golden Path?
Are they heroes or villains?
As you continue your journey through the Dune universe, just remember, the desert holds many secrets.
And the future is always changing.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, and we'll see you next time.